A $49,000 Navy federal credit limit sounds impossible to most people, especially if your current card only has a $500, $1,000, or $3,000 limit. But getting a higher limit is not about pressing one button and hoping Navy Federal feels generous that day. It comes down to timing, your payment history, your current balances, your income, your housing expenses, the age of your account, and what the rest of your credit report looks like when Navy Federal reviews it. So in this video, I am going to show you exactly how to request a Navy Federal credit limit increase, when you should request it, the mistakes that can get you denied, and how to prepare your credit profile before you submit the application. Because requesting at the wrong time can get you an instant no. But preparing your file correctly can give you a much stronger chance of receiving a meaningful increase. Before we start, remember that you must be an eligible Navy Federal member before you can apply for one of its credit cards or request an increase on an existing card. Navy Federal also offers a pre-qualification tool for members that does not affect their credit score. Although pre-qualification never guarantees final approval. Now let's talk about why someone would even want a higher credit limit. The first reason is flexibility. A higher limit gives you more available credit for larger planned expenses, emergencies, business purchases, travel, or temporary spending that you already have the cash to repay. But a higher limit should not become an excuse to spend money you do not have. The goal is not to create more debt. The goal is to create more available credit while keeping your actual balances under control. The second benefit is credit utilization. Let's say you owe $1,000 on a card with a $2,000 limit. That card is reporting 50% utilization. But if the limit increases to $10,000 while the balance stays at $1,000, the utilization drops to 10%. Same debt, different percentage. That lower utilization may help your credit profile, provided you do not use the new limit to create a larger balance. Navy Federal itself explains that a higher limit can reduce utilization only when the cardholder does not increase spending afterward. The third benefit is future approval power. When another lender sees that you have successfully managed a larger credit line, it may strengthen the overall picture of your credit worthiness. But this is not automatic. One bank does not have to match the limit another bank gave you. Every issuer uses its own underwriting rules. Your income, debts, payment history, recent applications, utilization, and complete credit reports still matter. Now we need to talk about the most important part of the strategy. Timing. A lot of people open a Navy Federal card, use it for 2 weeks, and immediately request a limit increase. Then they get denied and assume Navy Federal does not like them. That is usually not the right conclusion. The account may simply be too new. Navy Federal officially says it likes to see at least 3 months of on-time payments on an existing card before approving a credit limit increase. You may hear people online call this the 91-day and 3 statement rule. That phrase comes from community data points. The official language is simpler, at least 3 months of on-time payments. So instead of counting exactly 91 days and submitting at midnight, I would wait until at least 3 complete statements have generated and the account clearly shows 3 months of responsible use. A few extra days will not hurt you. Requesting too early can. After you receive a credit limit increase, Navy Federal says it generally grants another increase on that same account no more than once every 6 months. So here is the practical system. When your card opens, create a calendar reminder approximately 3 months later. Do not submit automatically on that date. First, confirm that 3 statements have closed. Confirm that all payments posted on time. Confirm that your current balance is low. Then decide whether your credit profile is actually ready. After an approved increase, create another reminder for at least 6 months later. That keeps you from requesting too frequently and receiving a denial simply because the last increase happened too recently. Now let's talk about the credit inquiry. You will hear people online say that requesting through the app is always a soft inquiry and calling Navy Federal always creates a hard inquiry. Do not treat that as a guaranteed rule. Navy Federal's official FAQ says that when you submit a credit limit increase request, you will be asked to authorize Navy Federal to obtain a consumer credit report so it can evaluate your credit worthiness. The official FAQ does not promise that every online request will always be a soft inquiry. So before submitting, read the authorization language shown on your screen. Do not freeze your credit simply to try to force a lender into processing an application without the information it requires. That can delay the decision or cause the request to be declined. Submit only when you understand and accept the terms presented. Now here is what Navy Federal is likely to examine: your payment history, your present and past delinquencies, your current revolving balances, your income, your total debt compared with your income, your account age, and how long it has been since your previous limit change. Navy Federal publicly lists common denial reasons that include an account being too new, a recent credit limit change, delinquent obligations, insufficient income, high revolving utilization, and excessive debt compared with income. That tells you exactly how to prepare. First, get your balances down. If the card you are requesting an increase on is nearly maxed out, asking Navy Federal for more credit may look like you need additional room because you cannot manage the existing line. That is not the picture you want to present. Before requesting, I prefer to have the Navy Federal card paid off or reporting a very small balance. Also check your other revolving accounts. You could have a zero balance on the Navy Federal card, but still have 3 other cards reporting at 80% or 90%. Navy Federal can still see those obligations when it reviews your consumer report. The complete profile matters, not just one card. People often repeat the rule that everything below 30% utilization is good. Below 30% is better than being maxed out. But it is not a magic approval number. Lower is generally safer when preparing for a major application. The goal is to show that you are not dependent on your available credit to survive. Second, make every payment on time. One recent late payment can damage your chances even if the Navy Federal card itself has never been late. Navy Federal specifically lists delinquent obligations with other creditors as a common reason for denying a limit increase. The lender is not only asking, "Did you pay us?" It is asking, "Are you consistently paying everyone?" Third, avoid applying while your credit report is showing recent damage. If you recently received a collection, charge off, repossession, or serious late payment. Requesting more credit immediately may not make sense. Pull all 3 credit reports. Check Experian, check TransUnion, check Equifax. Look for accounts that do not belong to you. Incorrect balances, duplicate collections, wrong late payment information, outdated personal details, unauthorized inquiries, or accounts that are being reported inaccurately. Do not dispute accurate information simply because it hurts your score. But if information is genuinely inaccurate, incomplete, duplicated, or not yours, use the proper dispute process to challenge it before submitting more credit applications. Navy Federal recommends reviewing all 3 reports because creditors may not report identical information to every bureau. Fourth, be honest about income. Navy Federal asks for your employer or source of income, annual income before taxes, housing type, and monthly housing payment. Report income accurately. Do not exaggerate it because you think a higher number guarantees a larger limit. False information on a credit application can create serious problems. Use income that you are legally permitted to include and that is reasonably available to you. If you are self-employed, enter your legitimate business or income source accurately. If your income recently increased, make sure the information on the application reflects your current situation. The lender is trying to understand whether the amount of credit you are requesting makes sense compared with your ability to repay it. Higher income can help. But income alone does not erase missed payments, high balances, or excessive debt. Fifth, enter your housing payment correctly. If you rent with roommates and only pay $700 of a $2,100 lease, report your actual monthly responsibility if that is what the application asks for. Do not enter the full household rent when you are personally responsible for only one portion. At the same time, do not claim that you live rent-free when you actually pay housing expenses. Accuracy matters. Now let's talk about building a Navy Federal relationship. Navy Federal is a credit union, and an established relationship can sometimes support the overall picture. A checking account, savings activity, direct deposit, a certificate, an auto loan, or other responsibly managed products may show that you are an active member, but opening 5 products does not guarantee a credit limit increase. Do not open accounts you do not need just to impress an internal scoring system. The most important documented factors are still your creditworthiness, income, debt obligations, payment history, account age, and current utilization. A relationship may support a strong profile. It does not repair a weak one. Now let's walk through the application. Sign into Navy Federal Digital Banking. Go to the Cards section. Choose the credit card for which you want to request an increase. Scroll to the Maintenance section. Select Increase Credit Limit. Review your contact and personal information. Make sure your address, phone number, and other details are current. Continue to the application. Navy Federal will ask for your employer or source of income, total annual income before taxes, housing type, and monthly housing payment if applicable. Review everything carefully, then submit. If the request is approved, Navy Federal says the confirmation should display your old credit limit and the new limit. Some applications require additional review, and Navy Federal may send the final decision or explanation by mail. Now here is a section where many online videos become misleading. They tell you to request exactly 3 times your current limit, or ask for exactly $8,000 more, or claim that Navy Federal will always counteroffer if you request too much. Those may be based on individual member experiences. They are not universal published guarantees. Navy Federal's underwriting can change, and 2 people with the same current limit may receive very different decisions. One person might receive the full requested amount. Another might receive a smaller increase. Another might be denied, so use a realistic request based on your income, current obligations, card usage, and actual needs. A higher requested amount does not automatically create a higher approval. And requesting an unrealistic limit can lead Navy Federal to decide that your existing limit is already appropriate for your stated income. Now what happens if you are approved? Do not celebrate by immediately using the entire new limit. That would defeat one of the biggest benefits of receiving the increase. Continue using the card normally. Keep spending inside your budget. Pay the statement balance in full when possible. Keep utilization controlled. and wait at least the appropriate period before asking for another increase. Remember that Navy Federal allows members to be the primary holder on up to 3 personal credit cards and generally approves only 1 new card per member within a 90-day period. That rule applies to opening new card accounts, which is different from requesting a limit increase on an existing account. Do not confuse the two strategies. Sometimes people would benefit more from increasing an existing limit. Other times, a different card may provide better rewards or benefits. But opening another card creates a new account and generally involves a hard inquiry. A credit limit increase keeps the existing account but may still involve a credit review. Choose based on your goals, not because someone online showed a large number in a screenshot. Now what happens if you are denied? Do not immediately submit the same application again. Read the adverse action letter. The letter is not just a rejection, it is a blueprint. It should explain the primary reasons Navy Federal could not approve the request. Maybe the account is too new. Maybe the last increase was too recent. Maybe utilization is too high. Maybe income does not support the requested limit. Maybe your total monthly obligations are too high. Maybe there are recent late payments on your credit report. Fix the stated reason first. If the account was too new, wait. If the balance was too high, pay it down. If your debt-to-income ratio is too high, reduce monthly obligations. If the credit report contains a genuine error, dispute it with the appropriate credit bureau. If the information is accurate, build additional positive history instead of trying to remove it dishonestly. Then request again only after the profile has meaningfully improved. Do not believe that a reconsideration call automatically overturns every denial. It may lead to another review, but it can also involve another credit inquiry depending on what Navy Federal requires. Ask what type of review is needed before giving permission. Now let me give you the complete Navy Federal credit limit strategy. Step 1. Make sure the account has been open for at least 3 months and has produced at least 3 clean statements. Step 2. Make every payment on time. Not only with Navy Federal, with every creditor. Step 3. Bring your Navy Federal balance down as low as reasonably possible. Step 4. Check utilization across all your cards. Step 5. Review all 3 credit reports for genuine inaccuracies. Step 6. Avoid unnecessary applications before requesting the increase. Step 7. Update your legitimate income and housing information accurately. Step 8. Request through Navy Federal Digital Banking and read the credit report authorization carefully before submitting. Step 9. If approved, use the new limit responsibly. Step 10. Wait at least 6 months before expecting another increase on that account. And if you are denied, use the adverse action letter as your improvement plan. The biggest mistake is believing that Navy Federal is simply handing out huge limits to everyone. It is not. A high credit limit is still an underwriting decision. The lender is asking whether your history, income, debts, and behavior show that you can manage more credit without becoming a larger risk. Your job is to make that answer easy. Clean payment history, low balances, accurate income, manageable debt, an established account, and a credit report that does not contain unresolved errors or recent damage. That is what gives you the strongest position. A large credit limit is not free money. It is borrowed capacity. Used properly, it can support lower utilization, more flexibility, and stronger future applications. Used badly, it can turn a good credit profile into high-interest debt. So, do not chase a $49,000 limit just because the number looks impressive. Build a profile that can responsibly handle it. because the real flex is not having a massive limit. The real flex is having access to that limit and not needing to use it.